Welcome to another episode of WMA Talks, Spotkania WMA, where we talk with experts from various fields as part of the latest exhibition, Destynacje, Destinations. Today, we will talk with Meri Saaristo of Anoli Tours, a tour guide in Martinique. Meri is also a cultural anthropologist. My name is Karolina, and I'm part of the Wirtualne Muzeum Antropocenu, and welcome, Meri. I'm so happy that you found some time to talk to us.
Hi to everyone. Hello, so nice to be here.
So, Martinique, I'm not sure if everybody knows where it is. So, how about you just tell us more about this wonderful, wonderful place with a beautiful weather and blue skies?
Yes, absolutely. So Martinique is actually in the Caribbean. So it's a tiny island, and it's part of France. So it's like an overseas department of France. So we are actually part of the European Union even. So it's in the Antilles, like under the bigger islands. Basically, you have this chain of Antilles, and then you also have Guadeloupe, which is a little further up, also part of France. So that's where I live. It's about 70 kilometers long, 30 kilometers wide for the island. So a tiny place.
Okay. Destynacje Destination, our online exhibition, features photos of our friends and friends of the museum, artists connected somehow to the museum. Photos mainly taken during holiday. Photos of beautiful places, photos from scenic viewpoints. When I think of Martinique and I think of Caribbean, and all these photos that I've seen of the island, I think this is part of those destinations, places that people go to relax, to have a wonderful time, and to take a photo. So I feel like this is, one of those places, even though our, most of our audiences, if we think that our audience is based in Poland, doesn't really go that far. Maybe they will, hopefully they will, because I feel like this part of the world is absolutely wonderful. But I think it's a great place to look at as an example of, what we do when we go, as a case study for us when we talk about our exhibition. So let's start with, questions that I have for you, because I was thinking that you as a tour guide and also as a cultural anthropologist, you can look at us tourists being there, spending their wonderful time, and then you must have some sort of experience with us. So do you think that as tourists, do you think that we know what we want to see when we go to places, and then what is it that we want to see? And what do we want to learn about the place that we go to? And what sort of pictures we take of ourselves and of our surroundings? Is there a set of things, or
Yeah, that's a really interesting question for sure. So I think like in the Caribbean, we are known as the islands where the sun is always shining, the nature is beautiful, which it is, of course. And sometimes, well, many of my clients come with the cruise ships, so sometimes they do different islands on their itinerary, and sometimes they are so mixed up that they almost forget where they are, so they can mix the islands. They're like, oh, we are in Martinique today. Okay, great. And they don't necessarily know so much about the islands. But definitely, I feel that they seek like places of natural beauty for their pictures, of historical interest, for sure. That's always what we're looking for as tourists mostly. And well, they always tend to do the standard poses, as we say, smiling, couples kissing, spreading your arms. Sometimes like, oh, look, here I am. We tend to point at things or hold together. If there's a group of people, they hold themselves somehow. So I feel like this is like a way of creating connection between the people in the group and also with the landscape. So this is very like human behavior, right? And I really enjoyed looking at the pictures in the exhibition, because that's what people do also in your photos. So it was really like, yes, I know, like this is what my tourists always do the same thing also. But it's like a very human way of doing things that we want to show that, oh, we are here and we are having fun, and so on. So yeah, definitely these are the things that I noticed that are in common with the exhibition. And well, selfies, that's a new thing, for example. So I didn't know how to do selfies. I had to learn it. I think I'm almost 40, so a little bit the older generation already, but this is the new thing. And then also, well, all these like cliche poses, like we were maybe like hold a monument in our arms, these kind of things. Like everybody knows it's really like cliche. It's kind of like silly, but we still do it. We can't resist, doing it. So it's quite funny. So yeah, when people come here, they mostly want to learn about the history of the island, the lifestyle here, geography, and yeah, in here the history is quite complex actually. So in Martinique, maybe you don't know probably, but we are now a part of France, but we used to be like a colony of France. So Martinique chose never to become independent. So we chose here to stay as a part of France. So there's it's quite like a sensitive issue still nowadays. And yeah, I think as a guide, I have to take like quite a neutral position in this way, like telling about the facts, but not perhaps tell my own opinions so much always. So it's interesting, yeah.
Who are your clients, right? So what's the demographics? Because they come, if they choose to come with you, they clearly are interested in exploring the island. Where they come from, do they stay for a week on the island, or do they come on a cruise ship, or how does it go?
Yeah, so many of my clients come with the cruise ships, really, because they don't have so much time to explore by themselves, like rent a car. It's a lot of trouble. So they really just want someone to take them, see the highlights. So I find it's a big difference in what people want to see, also if they have more time or less time. So most of the cruise ship passengers, they just want to see the highlights. They don't want to maybe go so much deeper in the history or the different aspects. They just want to see like the must seeable places, like the top 10, let's say. And it's always quite like classical, but then if you are here for a longer time, then you can go deeper, you have time to really explore, and then the pictures also can be different. It depends on how long you stay in a place, I find also. But yeah, many of my clients are from the cruise ships. I would say 80%. Mostly older people, 60 plus. They're often looking for like something quite secure, safe way to explore, not too hard, easy to walk. Toilet stops need to be there. Things like this, are important for them. And then families also, quite a lot of families with kids. So then it's a different itinerary. You have to take the kids into consideration and so on.
So if they come on a cruise ship, I imagine they come from island to island and then to another island. So maybe they just spend the whole month cruising around the Caribbean. Do you think that they see at some point after like a week of getting from one place to another and having, as I imagine, like evening dances on the boat, and then tea party, or like cake stuff, and then swimming pools? Do you think they know where they are exactly, or how much of what they get from you, the information, does it stay with them, or because if they come on a tour guide in Martinique, they may be going to another islands, just exploring.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. Like definitely some have already like quite a lot of background information. It depends on the people too. Like I've had people from all walks of life. Like I would say, well, the more you have like training or education, it can also play into it, that they are really interested sometimes in history. They already know a lot about the islands and the Caribbean. And then some people not so much. They just want to have fun. They're like, oh, let's just have a fun day, go explore the beach, see some waterfalls, have fun. And it's more, you have to adapt. Like you have to really read into your clients and adapt all the time. Even during the tour, sometimes I might be talking about the history of the island, and I see, okay, these guys they're starting to sleep, they're not so interested. So then you have to like, okay, well, let's talk about something else. So it's really hard to say, but I always try to at least like tell a minimum about the island's history and tradition and the people, because I just personally feel it's so important. Like you just can't go somewhere and not learn about the place. Like that's the point of taking the tour, is to get some information and also have fun at the same time. But both, it's a balance.
It is a balance. Like everybody is on holiday, but then they also learning new things. Like it's a holiday for your brain, I suppose, as well, because you get all the new information. You get all these beautiful views that are so different from what you are used to, I suppose. So it must be wonderful. I'd love to go on a on a guided tour in Martinique right now. Since I'm wearing a sweater, the weather's not perfect.
I know. I'm waiting for you. Let me know.
I'd love to. So about the tourists as well, and their behavior and interest. Is there something that interests us as tourists the most? And do we have any specific expectations towards places we visit? And in your opinion, are these expectations met? So they choose, because you have on your website different tour packages. So you do different parts of the island. You might go and see historical place, or you might go and see is it tequila distillery?
Rum.
I'm so sorry, rum.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's rum distillery with rum tasting, which sounds amazing for holiday, right?
Yes.
But then you also go and explore historical sites. So they choose a package. They have certain expectations. Is there anything that you notice that's more popular than other things?
Yeah, definitely. I also, again, it really depends on the people and their interests. I also do a lot of customized itineraries. So you have like the basic packages on my page, and then I often get demands like, oh, Meri, we would like to, I don't know, see this and that. Can you make it happen? And what else can we add? So I do a lot of like custom tours, and that's really nice because it's tailored to your expectations kind of already. So they are often really happy with these, and they feel that, I made the effort to make something special for them. And often people already have like presumptions of the places they visit. It may be negative, it may be also positive. And sometimes, they may change their idea. Like some people, for example, might think that Martinique is quite a poor island, and then they come here and they're like, oh my God, you have better roads than we have in some parts of America, or you have such good internet, we didn't expect this. And then they're like really amazed because, Martinique is part of France. It's quite different from many of the other Caribbean islands too. So that's sometimes, interesting to see what people think about the place before they come. And then, what it might not be how they thought. So these kind of things often happen. And well, just like a normal example, going to, I don't know, a very popular waterfall, they might have seen pictures of it online. And on the picture, it seems like, oh, there's no one here. It's just you and the waterfall. And when they come here, like, oh, they have to queue. There's 10 other people there. They might be rushed, just, have maybe 5 seconds to take the picture, and then there's another person coming in. So these are things that sometimes maybe tourists don't think about, and then they can feel a little disappointed. And they often want to go to places that they feel are secret, or, things that are off the beaten path. But then not too much, because if it's really off the beaten path, there's maybe not a lot of touristic interest in the place. So, they don't always, like, if you take there somewhere, it's like, yeah, this is really like local. I'm like, well, that's not right. There's nothing interesting here for me. So that's funny sometimes. And also, it depends, like, on the picture taking. It's like some people really they live the tour through taking pictures. It's that most important thing is to take beautiful pictures for some people. So they don't really even stop and look at the place, only through the lens, perhaps. So I feel that they are sometimes not so present. So sometimes we miss, the beauty of the place, because we are so concentrated on taking the pictures about it. So that's a very human behavior, of course, but it's a very modern phenomenon, I think. We don't have time. We think, oh, we have to go. And often when I'm on tour with the cruise ship people, they want to see the maximum of things in the little time that they have. But then they feel that they have to rush. You have to rush through everything. So that's it's like, okay, do you want to have a nice day? Or, it might be a little stressful because you want to see so many things. So it's a balance again.
Yeah. Have you ever had a situation when somebody came to you with like Instagram posts from Martinique and say, look, I want to have a photo taken as this person has a photo taken. Where is this place? Because it's just on Instagram, it says, this is Martinique, and I want to have a photo here because it looks amazing. Have you ever had a situation like this?
Yes, I did actually. I did this tour. Like, it's not very common, but I remember this one couple, and they were promising me that, okay, they are these Instagram influencers. I will take them on a tour for free, and for that they will make a lot of posts about my tours, and I post everything, and I have a lot of visibility, basically. But it didn't really work out for me. I don't think I had any more followers because of that. But they had like they knew already where they want to go. They had checked all the places where they want to take the pictures. And that was all we did for the whole day. So it was really like quite stressful, even for them. I don't remember how many followers, but they were like professional Instagrammers. So all they did in the car was reply in the different comments that come into the Instagram posts, try to post the different pictures we did during the tour. And then when we went to see the places, it was just, okay, where can we do the picture? Where can I pose? Taking the pictures. So they didn't really see the island. They weren't interested in the history or anything else. It was just about the pictures. It was quite special. Yeah.
So think they had some background information about it, about the island, or they just like knew that they want to see this and have it done.
Yeah, I feel that they were not really interested in the island itself. It was really just, to have material for their feed, for their Instagram feed, beautiful pictures of them in beautiful landscapes. That's all that matters. I tried to tell them a little bit about the history and things, but they weren't really listening. They didn't seem so interested. So at some point I was just like, okay, I will not, because maybe you want to just comment on your post. I leave you work, They were working basically.
I mean, it's fair enough. That's their job, I suppose. But and then I hope the photos they took were absolutely beautiful, because it's the beauty at the end that matters as well. Artworks they were creating of some sort.
Definitely.
I'm thinking when we think about Martinique, I think we have this image of island that almost looks like in brushed in Photoshop. So right, there's wonderful blue skies, there's gorgeous blue ocean, palm trees, white sands, and then some flowers. But this is an island, as you mentioned, with a rough history. So this was a part of colonies of France. One of your tours, at least that I know, offers as well going to 22nd of May monument. I feel it's Abolition Day in Martinique. It's a beautiful monument. It's extremely important for the local community because it's about what exactly? Maybe if you could tell us as a Martinican.
Yeah, definitely. No, yes. So we have this monument. It's called Cap 110. It's in the town of Le Diamant, and it was actually erected to commemorate the 150th day of abolition of slavery here on the island. So, about 90% of the people who are here, who are living here, are of African descendants because of the slavery period, right? And in this place, actually in 1830, there was like an illegal slave ship that sank and shipwrecked, and many people died. So it was bringing in captive Africans, and about, I think it was 42 of them died in the shipwreck. And then people came to rescue them. Many of them were rescued, but they were alive. But the people who perished, they are actually buried in the area where they now have erected these statues. So it's 15 really big statues by a local artist. And it's like a really important place for the local people where they come and they light candles, for example, on the Day of the Dead in November to commemorate the memory of their ancestors. So this is a place that we visit on my tours. So I always, tell the people like, okay, this is a place of respect for the locals. It's really important. So please, stay like quite calm and don't do any insensitive poses, try to take sensible pictures. Because a few years ago, there was this huge polemic. There was this French tourist lady, a white lady, who decided that she wants to pose naked in front of the statues. So this was something that created like a huge buzz on the WhatsApp actually. And they were sharing these pictures like it didn't go well with the local community, obviously, for reasons. And actually even the mayor of the town pressed charges against this lady. So, it's so important to know about the history of the places that you visit, also to avoid these kind of things happening. So definitely it's important. So so we have to be aware of certain things when we travel. You just can't go and then do whatever you want always.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But it's a horrible thing what she did. So it's unimaginable. But I feel like this kind of behaviors, they happen, especially with monuments or places that are so important to local communities. This kind of behavior happens. There's always this person that will do something really, really insensitive and stupid. Let's be honest. Hopefully, this will not happen again. But I checked on the website that you've been a tour guide in Martinique since 2009. Do you think, as a guide, or do you see any trends in travel style? Do our tourist interests change, or are they always the same? And then this is something that we might see after the whole pandemic ends. Do you think there will be any changes in style after this whole thing goes away eventually? Well,
no, I definitely think it will change travel a little bit. I hope to become like more conscious, more ecological, more benefiting the local communities. And I think, well, these are trends that were already present before the pandemic, but I think it's going to be even like more influential after the pandemic. And people I think travel may be becoming also a little more expensive. I'm not sure if with all the fuel cuts, we try to be more ecological. There's more tax maybe on the fuel of the planes, things like this. So it may even be that traveling is not so accessible anymore as accessible as it used to be to everyone, right? So this is something I think might happen. And then also like people are looking for more authentic experiences, more connection with the local communities, which is great, I think, because that's why we travel, to not just to take beautiful pictures on a beach and never go out of the hotel. For me, at least, I would not like to, That's not my style of holiday. It's really to go somewhere and experience the place where you are, and then to give back to the community also. So not just, for the big hotel complex, but, use local artisans, go take a nice workshop, I don't know, do pottery with the old ladies, or go to the local restaurants, these kind of things for sure. So we are becoming like more active travelers, like less like passive observers, which was like the traditional style of travel, I feel. And now we want to be like more active and more participating, and then, well, of course, also generations, the style that you travel is different for younger people than older people. So younger people, they tend to be more adventurous. They really, they go there and they experience, they live in the community more. And maybe older people are a little more, they want the security, but still I feel that they are also getting into the new travel style of, becoming a little more local. So hopefully this will happen. Yeah.
When I think of this old travel style, I'm thinking about all-inclusive hotels. That very often people end up and they just stay for the whole week. They rarely leave it. They have everything there: drinks, massages, private beach, swimming pool, gym. Why would you do the gym during your holiday? It's your holiday. But hey, your choice. Restaurants, bars open till 5 o'clock in the morning and whatnot. Do you have these in Martinique?
Yeah, we do have a few all-inclusive, but it's not the real, like a big travel thing here. Like Martinique is really known for having more like small boutique hotels, and even it was the politics here not to build all these huge hotel complexes. And there's even a law that protects our beachfront. So there's a law that you cannot go to you can't build really close to the beach, which is really good also. And all the beaches, even if it's a hotel property, they have to be accessible to the local people. So even if you don't stay at the hotel, you have the right and go to swim in the hotel beach. So this is something that's not really very common in all the Caribbean islands. And it's a big plus also, I think, to Martinique, that we are already concentrated more on the, let's say, a little upper level traveler, or not so mass tourism. So it's really like you have really nice hikes here, snorkeling, diving. The nature is quite preserved. So this is something that we also try to highlight for Martinique in the communication that the tourism bureau does about Martinique, that, it's not just a place to come and take sun, but you can do so many activities, really experience the culture of the island and engage with the locals. So yeah, I think it should be good for us, hopefully, after the pandemic also.
Yeah. But I think what you're saying is absolutely important, that the government, local government, right, protects the nature, and then doesn't allow to build everything so close, because the problem that lots of people point out with tourism is that it changes the environment, it changes landscape. Do you see a lot of this kind of changes in even though there are all those laws that protect your island from the outside and from the influence of I don't know, tourism and constructions and stuff? Do you see that there's something that's too much, or is everything working fine with the nature?
Yeah, in here it's true that we are quite protected, and we don't see perhaps so much the changes. I would say the changes are more like environmental changes that we are really experiencing, like the climate change is quite bad right now. For like, we can already feel the difference with the climate change. But well, it's another subject. But for example, our beaches are eroding. Like, there's erosion on the beaches. We have these problems with seaweed. Like, there's these huge seaweed banks of seaweed that come to the beaches, and they rot, and it smells really, really bad. And the people who live next to the coast, they use all of their electronical devices, for example, because it's attacking the wiring and everything. So it's like an environmental issue right now. But in terms of mass tourism, we do have like a lot of visitors. I would say it's more the ships, like the cruise ships, that have the biggest like impact on the infrastructure of the island, also for the nature, because they pollute quite a lot also when the cruise ships come here. But no, not for the infrastructure, not so much. We are still, it's an island that doesn't live only from tourism. So I would say not so much.
What else do you live from? Because this is quite interesting. Because the reason why I ask is because I feel like we don't know much about Martinique, apart from few photos that we've seen, or know that somebody went on holiday. So what is the other source of income for Martinique?
Well, basically, because we are part of France, there is a problem with unemployment, for example. There's quite a lot of, especially young people, who are unemployed. I think it's almost the same as in Greece, almost 50% of youngsters, it's really high. But otherwise, we live from agriculture. We produce bananas, for example, to export to France. Rum is a big another big sector. Of course, tourism. Of course, you can't escape it. And then just service sector, these kind of things, local companies, local economy. But we're not so like 100% dependent on tourism, which has been protecting us from like now during the pandemic. Many of the other islands who only live from tourism, I know that they are really in much trouble, but we get help. We can get help from the French government, for example, and it's been really, really good. So, it's a little bit different.
I was thinking about the fact that that because you have tours that have a certain itinerary, so people will know where they're gonna go. Do you think they always take photos in the same places when they go on a tour with you? Do you point out, look, there's this interesting thing. If you want to take a photo, you can take a photo. Does it happen, or do you see that they, being in a certain place, let's say they go to the rum distillery, and they have a rum tasting. You think that they will stand next to, I don't know, gate, or next to with a glass, or is there a repetition of movement? Is there something that you see that we as humans always do, or do we always focus our gaze in one direction, or is there something that we all have in common, or does it like really vary from person to person?
It's a hard question. I'm sure like we do a lot of photo stops also on my tour. Definitely. Okay, like for example, I take an example. We stop at a place where you can see the old town, the old capital of the island that was destroyed by the eruption of the volcano, and you have the volcano in the backdrop, and it's really scenic. So that's where we always stop. People always take a picture of it, like, you have to stop here, you have to take the picture, like, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But definitely people almost always just, either they take a picture of the thing, the monument or the scenic view by itself, or then they take one with themselves. It can be a selfie, it can be a group photo. It depends a little bit how they are and their generation also. Like young people, mostly take selfies, and also young people. I think it's Instagram's influence. They don't want to look into the camera. They take a picture behind, like, oh, this is me looking at the scenery. The picture is from the back, so you don't see their face. I don't know why. I think it's maybe because they want to mark the difference with the older generations, or it's a new thing. I don't think it exists when I was younger so much. We just did the normal pose of looking into the camera, so that's it's a new trend. And then, well, of course, you wouldn't want, like, when we travel, I think we feel we want to create this like a perfect narrative, the perfect holiday story that, okay, it was wonderful, everything was great. It doesn't maybe always have so much connection with the real experience, the real life experience that you had. So how the place really looks like, or maybe you had a horrible day and it was raining, but it doesn't show in the pictures, right? So you would always like frame out all the very unaesthetic things from your photo. So that's a very human thing. You wouldn't take a picture of the trash next to the monument or something like that, although it actually is there, right?
Yeah.
So we create our version of the reality, like it has to conform kind of to the ideal idea that we have of the place. I feel, so you wouldn't take a picture of the traffic jam you got stuck into on the way to this place, for example, or the bad food that you had. It's human. So yeah, it's like what's socially acceptable, what is the way that people want to tell about their holidays. It has to conform to this kind of like a myth of the lovely holiday. It was great, we had a good time, sun was shining, the people were friendly. Often it's like that. Not for everyone. Some people maybe also tell about the more negative aspects, but not always. I feel it's like we create this holiday that we want people to see, of course.
In Destinations, Destinacie exhibition, we actually divided all these photos into a few groups. There were like empty places, so scenic views, right? There were places with people, so people posing in a traditional way, like looking at camera or just en face, something that the whole silhouette is visible. There was a group of photos with what, as you mentioned it, people standing, facing the view, the camera, because this is part of the whole trend.
Yes.
And then let's be honest, lots of us has photos like that, and they look very nice. It's quite difficult to take it, because you have to explain to the person that will take a photo what you exactly want to have, how you want to frame it, and just like, keep this camera here. When I tell you go, just start taking photos, and I'm going to change my pose a little bit so it looks good. And if it doesn't, you have to do it again. So just do it right. And then and then there's also this a group of photos with accidental people, let's call them that. Like, we have this beautiful view, and you have photos of people that are taking photos or just passing by, and then become part of our whole thing, like our wonderful holiday. We have photos of them forever, unless we decide to delete them because we put a finger in a frame accidentally. So my question is, when you go with your group to explore the island, do you go to places that are just the scenic views, or do you have like do you go to places where there's lots of people, lots of tourists, or lots of locals? How does it work? So who will your clients have accidentally in a frame? Are they tourists, or are they just locals, or is it a mixture of both?
Okay, it can be a mixture of both. It's often other tourists, because sometimes we visit places that are more the touristic places, so it's not always the locals that are there, it's the other tourists. So always you have to fight for the good spot, and then go away, push and wait for your time. They don't want other people in their pictures, of course. Normally this is not you would like to have. And then with the locals, well, it's more like, okay, some people might want to take pictures of the local fruit seller on the market or things like this. but there's so many tourists that they don't really want to be in pictures. So they actually even now have like signs with like no photo sign. And you know, these, yes, if somebody comes, doesn't ask for permission, they will do it, like they will just hide their face, for example, you know. So it's, yeah, I think it's quite a touristic island, so people feel a little hostile sometimes to be in pictures. Of course, it's like normal politeness to ask for a person's permission to take a picture of them, but not everybody does it, unfortunately. So this is something I always, you know, also tell that, okay, you know, in this marketplace, they don't really want you to take pictures of them. They might give you the permission if you buy something from them, but otherwise it's not a good idea to take a picture without a permission, for example.
Yeah. Are there any places in Martinique that you can't take photos at all? Is there any place that is so important or is such a big taboo about it that you cannot go and take photos?
Not really. Like the only places that come to mind is churches. So when we visit churches and there might be like a ceremony going on, a funeral, wedding, things like this, or just people in church praying. So then, you know, you can take pictures of the architecture, but not the picture of the people. So yeah.
So exactly like in Europe, I would say. That's Europe, but then with local customs as well. So
yeah, same thing. So otherwise, I think most places you can normally take pictures. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking whether we have any questions, but I can't see any. So if anybody's watching us, guys, don't hesitate and ask. We'll be live for next few minutes, and then we're gonna say goodbye to wonderful Meri and then wonderful weather. By the way, behind you there's a map of Martinique.
Yes.
With, it looks amazing.
Yes. I am living here, so
Okay.
that's the capital town of the island.
Yeah.
So 90,000 people, and all of the island has 400,000 people. So it's quite populated, actually. The northern part is more the lusher part with the rainforest and all this, and then here it's more dry. You have all the wonderful beaches, you know, the typical postcard Caribbean white sand beaches. It's nice because it's so versatile, so you have different landscapes on the islands too. So often it's nice for the tourists also that they get to see different things in a short time, and they really love the landscapes here. It's very beautiful.
I was checking on your website that you do tours of the south and then of the coast of the north. So you make to be fair, you do the whole island when you make your tours. Do you sometimes have a situation when one group asks for both tours day after day because they're interested?
Yeah, sometimes like it's normally you have to choose between the south or the north because it is not big, but then in one day it's too many things to stop and you know you'll be too rushed. But often I can combine like things from the south and things from the north, so it's possible to do a little bit of the north, a little bit of the south, and it's very flexible, really very, very flexible. So if you guys want to see some nice pictures, you can go and check out my Instagram also. So I'm also in so Anoli Tours there, and it's pretty, very pretty here.
Can I just put a link to your website on in the comment section later on after the our talk? So if anybody's interested in visiting your website and just going to your Instagram, we can make it easier for them.
Perfect. Yeah. Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. Great.
So I don't see really any questions, which it's not good, but that's life, you know. Monday happens sometimes. Is there anything? So I'm thinking like we can start closing this a nice discussion because I think we've been talking for like 45 minutes right now, which is nice.
Yeah. Time flies.
Time flies. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Meri?
No, I don't think. I think it's. I think we pretty much covered everything. Just like maybe it's more like the touristic problems, but yeah, like we talked about the statues and the problems of taking pictures there. But another problem sometimes with the tourists can be pictures with the wildlife. That they don't always respect wildlife.
Yeah.
So we, for example, have turtles here, and everybody wants to go and swim with the turtles and take this picture when they are swimming with the turtle, almost touching them. And you're not supposed to touch them, actually. You're not supposed to go very close. So this is something I've witnessed, like the behavior of people who really just want this picture with the turtle so bad that they are ready to do almost anything for it. And it's quite sad just to see them really like going around the turtle, circling it, sometimes taking it into their hands, pushing it underwater, things like that, So that's another aspect, I guess, of the people's rage to take the perfect picture that can go a little too far sometimes. We have to put some limits also to it. So yeah, it's interesting, how it can become more important to take the picture of something beautiful than to actually just respect it, look at it from afar, and not make any harm to this to this beautiful creature.
Yeah. Well, so we shouldn't. We should be very, very careful not to leave our footprints everywhere we go, and walk very carefully. I think this is a nice metaphor, because we do lots of damage, not even knowing that we do. Is there something we should, from your perspective, change in our behavior as tourists? Because it doesn't matter where we go, whether we go to Polish mountains or wonderful Martinique, we have a feeling we act exactly the same, regardless of the culture we're coming from. We just this homo touristicus, almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I just think, it's important to respect the place that you're visiting. And as you said, not to harm it, not to leave your footprints, so that also other people can enjoy it. Future generations can still enjoy the beautiful nature. Because we as humans are sometimes a little bit too selfish, perhaps, that we don't think so much ahead, or from only see things from our perspective. So yeah, that's a good reminder for all of us when we travel, for sure. Not just in Martinique, but as you said, everywhere.
I feel like I think we can wrap it up. On my part, in the name of Wirtualne Muzeum Antropocenu, and for me, really deeply, I'm so grateful that you agreed to meet with us, and thank you so much for having this conversation with us about very important things, because we as humans, when we again can travel, because we can't really right now, not as much as we would like to, but maybe it's a good thing that we had to stop for a moment and think about it, what we do. So when we travel again, we can be more aware of what's happening, since we were forced to stop and slow down, and now we'll be more responsible. So thank you so much, Meri, for meeting with us. And,
very welcome. Yeah, thank you. It was great, great talking to you. Really interesting. And all the best. And love the exhibition. So interesting. So I will link it to some people for sure.
Thank you so much again, and then have a wonderful week and a day and a year, and then hope one day I'll come and visit Martinique, and maybe I have a glass of rum with you, but oh no, we'll see.
Yes,
thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching this, and have a great week. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye.